right, guys. So, hey there, it's Kim George from YourChicGeek.com, and I want to welcome you to my Amazon income report for December of 2025. Actually, this is for Q4. This is going to be a look into the last 3 months of the business, how things went, how much I made, the royalties, the ads, and the marketplaces that I marketed to, my biggest takeaways, and a whole lot more. So, this is going to be pretty jam packed. So, you guys, let's go ahead and let's dive in and let's get into some things. So, what is this going to cover in this breakdown? So, as I've stated, I'm going to go through the royalties for October, November, and December. This is considered to be Q4. These are the last 3 months in the year. I'm going to talk about my ad spend plus my ACoS. We're going to go through it. I'm going to show you guys the marketplaces that I ran ads in, the book types that performed the best, what my wins, misses, and surprises were, and then how this is going to shape my 2026 strategy. Okay. So pretty excited to share this information. So we're going to dive right into October. Now for me, October has usually been on the slower side. So for October, I was able to publish about 2 books. As you can see, these were the royalties that I brought in for October. So it was $37.88. The total ad spend was around $909.72. And so the profit was $28.79. Now, I wanted to try to find my ACoS, but I could not find it. So forgive me for that, because I was trying to go back to get the data from the Amazon ads dashboard, but I could not find it. So sorry about that. But I waited too late. So the marketplaces with active ads. So for the month of October, the UK and the US brought in the most sales, which is generally on par for how October goes for me. And I did run ads though to the US, the UK, Canada, Italy, Germany, and Australia. So quite a few marketplaces that I did run ads to, but this is how things turned out. All right. Now, November was a lot better, as you can see. It was actually pretty surprising. So November, I met my goal because I did set a goal for November for 5K. As you can see, I beat that well over, which is I'm grateful and blessed to see. Like I said, November was a shocker for me. So November was 94, 91, 58. I did publish 5 books. The total ad spend was $1285.59, and so the total profit for this month was $8206.02. My overall ACoS, I was able to capture this in the Amazon Ads dashboard, which 12.55%, which is incredible, very low, well below the 20%, 30% mark, which is great. And so the marketplaces here again that I ran active ads to were the US, the UK, Canada, Italy, Germany, and Australia, right? Now, the marketplaces that brought in the most sales for this month were the US, the UK, and Canada. So again, really, really shocking for November, but very grateful. Here's December. I was not sure how December was going to work out for me, guys. So pleasantly surprised. So December again performed well for me. I wasn't sure. I had a goal of like 15K. It was like, that'll be great if I could make that. And I exceeded that, which is great. So I published 0 books in December. You see the total royalties was $23,697. And the total ad spend, which was a lot even better, which was $1673.73. The profit here was $22,023.95. Overall ACoS was 10.21%, which is insane. And the marketplaces with active ads were the US, the UK, Canada, Italy, Germany, and Australia. So here again, the US, the UK, and Canada brought in the most sales for me for the month of November. So this is usually when I do make the majority of the coin. And this is why I always try to tell people throughout the year, this is what you want to be preparing for, which is going to be Q4, because this is when most people are shopping and they're buying things, which is great. So just something to think about. So my Q4 ad strategy overview, let's talk about that really quickly and what my strategy was. So the marketplaces that I decided to run ads to for this year were, again, the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, and Italy. My ACoS, I am excited to say that it was well below the 20% mark, as you guys can see. I'm kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to get October. I think it was still pretty low. But again, for the main months for November, December, specifically December, my ACoS was well below the 20% and even 30% mark, which was great. So I was very profitable. My ad spend I stayed intentionally conservative with my ad spend. This is something I did a video on earlier in the year, and I talked about this because I know that Q4 is a time where you can definitely spend a lot of money, and you should if you have it to do that. The ad spend stayed intentionally conservative because I do try not to overspend in Q4 on ads. I really try to stay on the conservative side and only spend what I need to spend for ads on my books. And then lastly, I focused on books that were already converting. This is something I did a video on earlier in the year and talked about this, and this is going to be my strategy going forward. And I had to really think about this because I thought about the fact that, listen, there's only a certain percentage of books that really make the majority of the money that I make on KDP anyways. And so why not focus on those books and just run lottery ads, which are just automatic ads to everything else that I'm have turned on for ads. And so that's exactly what I did, and it fared very well for me. So I'm happy that it worked out. All right, so what worked well for me in Q4? So pivoting more heavily into medium content books was a game changer. I just did a video that talked about this. If you hadn't seen it, highly recommend that you check it out. But with my medium content books, I was able to price them higher, and I was able to make more money per book. And so my goal was to make $3 plus per book. And so with medium content books, that is something that you can definitely do. So that worked in my favor. Number two is VAT worked in my favor as well. So with some of the marketplaces with VAT added into my books, I was able to take home a higher pay on some of my books. So number three is several books hit bestseller status, which is great. And this included a few of my medium content books that came from product lines that I have and book brands that I've built up. And then number four, this wasn't about spending more. It was about spending smarter because, again, instead of trying to run just crazy ads to everything, I did not do that. I wanted to focus specifically on the books that had already been proven to sell. And so that is what I did, and it worked out well. So the best performing marketplaces. So the US marketplace had the stronger overall volume, and this usually is the case. But I will say last year, the UK marketplace actually outperformed the US marketplace. So number two is the UK marketplace. So this was my second strongest marketplace for this year, but last year it was actually flipped, and this was my top performing marketplace. But either way, I still fared out pretty well, and I'm grateful for that. Number three is Canada. Now, this was a shocker for me this year, guys. In Canada, this was insanely profitable for me this year. So in Canada, I spent $93.50. I went to KDP Champ to check it, and I made over 3K in December. This was nuts. I don't even know how to even explain that. And this is why I always, try to encourage you, if you can, to run multiple ads to different marketplaces. Don't just look at the US marketplace as if that's the only place that people are buying products from, because these other marketplaces, you stand a chance to do very well in them as well. So just something to think about and to consider going into this year. And then number four is the Australia marketplace. This is another pleasant surprise. So this year I spent around $47 in December for ads for this marketplace, and I made over $1,700 in return. So again, some huge gains, some huge returns in these additional marketplaces. Now, these are English speaking countries, but again, just goes to show you, definitely try to leverage running ads into other marketplaces, especially in Q4, to see if you can get some sales coming in there. All right, so here's a quick breakdown of how everything performed. You can see that the United States brought in the most sales for me, followed by the UK, followed by Canada, which was, again, a shocker, Australia, and I actually had some other marketplaces pop up where I made a few sales. So we had Italy, where I made $840 something, which was, again, kind of a shocker. I had Spain, I had Germany, I had Ireland, where I made some sales. I had France, and then I think I had Belgium as well. So again, this is one of the pluses this is one of the pluses of publishing your books on Amazon, guys, is because you get an opportunity to make sales in so many different places. Amazon is always adding additional marketplaces. I think Belgium is new, and I think I've seen another one pop up. But these were marketplaces where I didn't have to spend anything on ads, and I still was able to make some coin, okay, from this. So just pretty exciting stuff. So the best performing book types, let's talk about this really quickly. So I'm excited to report, yay, for this year that one of my bestsellers came from a new book line of activity books that I published on last year. This one book brought in the bulk of my sales for this year, and this was exciting to see. So when you hear people say things like, oh, Amazon is saturated, oh, you can't make money, I'm here to tell you that that is so far from the truth. It is all about positioning your book. It's all about what else different you can bring to the table and finding a way to be able to do that with the books that you're publishing versus what everybody else is publishing. Okay. Now, it's not necessarily about reinventing the wheel. It's not about that. It's just about finding a way that you can, go into a niche that already has demand and figuring out what different can I bring into this niche. Okay. So that is something to consider. So number two is my coloring book line. This was a set of books that I published a while ago. I think back in when I first got started, which was around 2022-ish, one-ish, somewhere around there. But these were books that were published a while ago. But this happened to be a great, strong performer for this Q4, which is great. Number three, now this was a shocker, okay? This was a translated low content book. So don't sleep on translations, fam. Like I talked about this in a video. I'm probably going to do another video about this and about the untapped opportunities there are with translations. Now, in my low content collective, I have a whole little mini course on how to translate your books, for sales, translate books that you already have into sales. And also I show you the tools that you can use to do it, okay? Low cost tools that you can use to do this. But this was very surprising to me when I went to check my results for this year. And so again, don't sleep on those translations. And then number four was a themed book from my activity book line. And again, this is epic. You can see it's so epic that I wrote it twice, but this is really epic news for me. And so what this tells me is that here again, book brands and ones that are sold in a set plus repeat formats perform better than just my one-off books. Actually, I noticed that with this book line and this product line that I've created, there were multiple books from this product line that actually turned into great sellers. So again, people love being able to come to you to find your brand and to find your pen name on Amazon, see that you have multiple books that are available and purchase multiple books from you, especially if you have something that you've created that is great, that they really enjoy. They are more than likely to purchase multiple books for you. So just something to consider as you guys, go into this year with making your books. What didn't work as well? So, some things didn't work as well. So, unfortunately, some of the Christmas books that I had published last year that performed well didn't perform as well this year. Bum, bum, bum. They just didn't. I don't know what happened. I ran ads to them, but they just didn't perform as well. So that's okay. And then number two is sales didn't scale the way I expected. And I say that to say that I think last year, maybe it was just an anomaly. I don't know. But last year was just insane. I had one book that took off that sold over 15,000 copies, like on its own. It was just insane. And so this year, that same book it didn't, I'm not going to say it didn't fare as well. It just didn't take off the way that it did last year, but it still did well. So it just didn't scale and blow up the way that I thought it was going to blow up, but I still was able to fare well. And I did, just as good as I did last year. So I'm grateful for that. And the reason, and I will say, one of the things that really did help me this year, here again, was adding some translated books to my catalog. I didn't have to go and start over. I just took books that I already had and I just translated them into other languages. So here again, if you can take advantage of this, definitely do it. Okay, definitely do that. Now, the biggest surprises and unexpected wins. I'm going to go back to two that really shocked me. So number one was the Canadian marketplace sales in December. I was not expecting for Canada to go crazy the way that it did, but I'm glad that it did. So here again in Canada, I spent just the $93.50, but I made over 3K. That is insane. I don't even know what kind of return that is. I don't even know what times that is. I would have to ask chat, but that's an incredible return on spending just $100 in Canada. Okay, so it just took off. And then Australia was the same thing. It really outperformed my expectations, and I made really good coin just with spending so little in Australia. I think it was about $74 that I spent, but I made 1,700. So again, that was a really, really great an unexpected surprise for those marketplaces. So key lessons that I've learned from Q4. So number one is medium content books worked well for me, and this is what I want to continue to do as my royalties were more because I could charge more for those books. You guys know that Amazon made a huge change that to me, it really did do a lot of damage to lower content books, especially things like the notebooks and just kind of little simple journals and things like that. And I'm glad that I made the pivot on last year to start working more towards medium content books that I can charge more for. Okay, so something to consider. So, number two is ads worked best for me when they were paired and ran to books that had already been proven to sell. Okay, so again, running ads to my bestsellers instead of trying to run ads to everything worked to my advantage. Number three, international marketplaces deserve more attention. Guys, don't sleep on the international marketplaces. Again, get your books translated if you can and start testing out and running ads to different international marketplaces to see how things fare for you. Right? And then number four is planning ahead beats reacting during Q4. I've seen it so many times. And this was something that I stressed last year was I wanted to get started with planning ahead. That's why I had a workshop that I did. I also had a Q4 profit plan or something that I put together. But either way, those were put together to help with planning ahead and basically putting your books out there, trying to get your reviews, getting things ramped up so that when Q4 rolls around, you're not scrambling trying to hurry up and put things out. You've already put things out there, you have reviews and so on and so forth. So you've already done your planning and had your books out there way ahead of time, and you didn't wait until the last minute. Okay, so those were the biggest lessons from Q4 for me. Now, what are my plans for 2026 and what am I doubling down on? So here's a quick list of things that I'm going to do. Number one for me is going to be more translations. So creating new books that can be translated into different languages. That is something that I want to work on for this year. And then also some of the books that I already have, like my children's books, I'm going to try to test out translating those to see how things work out with those. Okay. Number two is adding more medium content books to my catalog. Okay. Because again, these are the books that brought in the most coin for me. These are the books that can make the most money. And when I say medium content books, I'm thinking about things like puzzle books, activity books, and so on and so forth. All right. So that's what I'm going to be working on this year. Number three is going to be short stories. Now, I've tested this before, but I'm probably going to go back and test these again and possibly even more children's books to see if I can put maybe a little mini kind of product line for another set of children's books together or short stories and see how they perform. And then number four, and I'm really excited about this, is going to be testing audiobooks. I am excited to dive into the world of audiobooks. I have seen so many people talk about audiobooks and how they've done well, how they fared well. So I am excited to test it out and to see if I can make some coin with ACX. So that is something I'm going to be testing out this year, and I'll be reporting back to you guys to let you know how things have gone with that, right? Number five is creating books in multiple formats. This is huge for me. Again, with low content books, you can do things like, the paperback version and the hardcover version, but there's other books like the short stories, the children's books, and so on and so forth, where you can do paperback, you can do hardcover, you can do ebooks, and you can do audiobooks as well. So this is what I'm going to be pivoting to again this year and truly testing out to see how things go. And then number six is, again, just continuing with outsourcing and using AI to speed up production times for my books. I know that a lot of people still have, these things about AI and how they don't want to use them, but I'm here to tell you, if you can have anything in your business that's going to make your life a lot easier, if that's going to help you plan your books better, that's going to help you kind of, put you on a roadmap to creating your books faster, this is the thing that you want to use. And AI happens to be one of those things and those tools for me. And so I'm definitely planning to continue to use it for my covers, to help with some of the interior layouts and so on and so forth. So That is what I plan to do in 2026. So guys, this pretty much wraps up this video. I know this is kind of a long one, but I kind of wanted to do a deeper dive and just to kind of show you guys and take you guys behind the scenes of the business to kind of show you guys how I did. I think this year went pretty well for me. I am definitely going to be doing a lot of things different this year. I'm not going to be publishing as many books. I want to be smarter and more intentional about the books that I'm publishing. And again, I want to leverage the power of taking the one book that I'm publishing and putting into multiple formats. Okay, so I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think about the video? How did you guys fare in Q4? Please comment below, let me know, and I will see you guys in another video. Okay, take care. Bye.